Second Life Sneakers. I'm doing my first YouTube video today, so be sure to like, subscribe, give it a little boost. There's going to be many more to come, but today we're going to be doing a highly requested tutorial, and that's how to shave your air units so that they fit for classic Air Forces. For those who don't know, this is an air unit. It's the piece that goes in the midsole of a Nike Air Force One. It's got like a little plastic piece inside encased in a foam polyurethane casing. And so we're going to be doing this for these Puerto Ricos. I think these are a men's 9. And I'm going to have a link below so that you can go to my Shopify store to be able to buy your own air units. And you can get them cheaper from me on Instagram as well. On Instagram they're going to be 15 plus shipping. On my website they're going to be 25 free shipping. So if you want to just buy them without having to talk to me, I guess, you can go through the website or go to my Instagram and get them even cheaper and follow me on there to keep up with more content. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to put this in here, and then we're going to see how this fits at first. There's generally a good bit of variation, but you're going to have the most fitment issues with like the late 90s, mid 90s pairs. Typically the 2000s pairs fit a little bit better, but what I usually do is I brace it with my knee like that, so you can get, you know, like an even fit at the back. And then we come up here and we kind of like press the toe down, so like how it would be fitted if it was glued into place. And this one, the fitment's not too far off. Like you can kind of, I don't know if you can see from that far back, but it's like right at like where the old glue line is right here. But the area that always seems to have some problems is like right at like the tip of this toe box. And so if you look at like where this would go if we clamped it right now, you can see like maybe like a couple millimeters of that like rough old glue line. And so we want to shave a little bit of the air unit to drop it down a little bit so that you don't see that part of the glue line and that the sole fits like naturally how it did before. These air units are made kind of to the specifications of like the modern Air Force Ones, so there's a good bit of variety in how they fit on the older pairs. And so what we're gonna need, you could do this probably with a belt silencer. This is what I'm using right now, just like a hyper tough rotary, and it takes a while, but I do feel like you get more control probably with this than with a belt. I think the toe area on a belt would be really tough, like just like making sure that it's stable. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Whenever you're doing this, like you want to only do the toe area because there's that plastic piece in the back. Thankfully, like the back pretty much always fits correctly, so that's not too much of a concern. For this one, we're actually not gonna do. Usually, I start like back here. And for this one, we're going to start a little bit further up because it fits pretty well up until about here. So we don't need to drop it down too aggressively, we just need to drop it down a little bit. We're going to go ahead and make sure that you got protective eyewear. This like tip of the rotary can come off, and you can see it trims pretty fast. I think it's like 5,000 RPM or something. You can use a gas mask too, like that's not a bad idea because like it is like fine foam particles. This is gonna be a pretty quick video, so I'm not gonna use one for now. But if you were doing this like consistently and you were doing like multiple of these, it would be a good idea to wear one. And you can't see, but behind you I've got like the garage door open, so I have plenty of ventilation in here. But we're gonna get started, and so you want to kind of like go ahead and put like a line in it, like at the furthest back point, and that's going to be kind of like your guideline. And it's kind of hard to gauge like when you need to pull back, but you'll see it start to kind of eat the foam a little bit as you're like going back and forth. And you do need to put a pretty reasonable amount of pressure for it to start going in. And so don't know if you can see there, but we're starting to make some progress. Keep going. And this generally takes like, depending on how much you need to do, I would say like 15 to 20 minutes per air unit. You want to make sure that you try to get it as even as possible. And something else to keep in mind is that you only want to do this on the bottom. Because you're not really going to feel it on the bottom. Like there are going to be some patches that are probably a little bit uneven, but on the bottom you're not really going to feel that. If you do it on the top, I mean, the insole of the shoe might help cover that unevenness on the top, but I still think it's like probably not ideal for the comfort. And you also see some black staining here. That's nothing to worry about. That's just like, I was blasting some glue off of black pair of shoes earlier, so it kind of picked up the color of the glue, and it's just kind of painting that onto the foam. But it's all good. And you can see now we're starting to get a decent amount of progress. Be careful with this because it can slip like off the sides, like as you're getting close to the edges. Usually I'll turn it like this way to do the edges. But I've definitely accidentally hit myself with the rotary a good few times. Once you like kind of get through that like initial outer layer, it starts to go a little bit faster and easier. So we're just trying to keep it nice and even. You don't need to drop it that much, just a couple millimeters. As you're doing this, you're going to want to keep like checking the fitment to see how much it's improving. This probably won't look that different yet, so we'll keep going for now. But it's kind of like a haircut. Like you can always take off more, but you can't put it back on. I guess hair does grow back. Your foam unit's not going to grow back. So not the best analogy. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but I'm having to put a pretty good amount of pressure here, so don't be afraid to like kind of get in there and you put some force into it. Yeah. Also be careful with like grabbing certain parts of the air unit. Like if you just hit it with the rotary tool, sometimes it gets really hot. You can burn yourself if you're not careful like where you put your fingers. Ooh. Alright, so we're going to do a little test. It's probably not going to look that different yet, but just in case. We brace it with the knee again. And we are making some progress. We have maybe like 2 millimeters left or so. And it's really like this front toe area, so I'm gonna concentrate like kind of around here. Alright, so we're gonna check the fitment again. That was kind of a lot at once. But I think we're gonna be right on target. It does look like it's sitting a bit lower. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Alright, so that's exactly what we want. So you can see I've got the back pressed and it's level, and when I pull the front up, I'm gonna scoot a little closer. But you can see right there, right at the glue line at the toe. And so now it's gonna sit exactly where it's at before, and I'm gonna be able to put the sewing out through like all the old stitch holes And you can see like where it's like lining up perfectly now. Like you can look at those 3 punch holes right there, put that into place, put the pressure against the back, and it lines up perfectly. Check over here just to make sure it's looking good here. And it looks like it is. Once that's clamped tight, that'll be sitting right at the natural glue line. So that's what you want. That's like the perfect fitment for the Air Force One. That way you don't have any of that like nasty old raw leather that's been previously glued showing. You want it to look like as fresh out of the box as possible whenever you're doing an air unit swap. So hope that was helpful. Like I said, it only takes like 10 to 15 minutes per unit. And I've got the units on Instagram and my Shopify. So be sure to get them if you need them for your projects. But thank you for watching. I'm going to have a bunch more videos. Be sure to leave suggestions, things that you want to see, and I'll see y'all again soon. Take it easy. Hey guys, this is like a little epilogue for the air unit video. So I just watched it to see how it turned out, and I'd realized that you couldn't really clearly see like what the foam unit looked like as I was taking the rotary to it. So I wanted to give you a close-up so you can see about what it looks like. And you can see here that it is a little bit uneven. It's not an exact science using a tool like that. And that's why I stress that you really want to do this on the bottom, because when you're walking around on this, this is what you're going to feel on foot. And this little bit of unevenness, like this is negligible. You're not going to feel that while you're walking around if you've got this in this shoe and then you've got an insole and you've got the last. So that's why you want to do it on the bottom, but this is what it looks like. You can see that we dropped it down a little bit, a couple millimeters, like I said. Front still looks good. You can kind of see that plastic piece that I was talking about. This is where like the air in air unit comes from. That plastic piece is encased air, and so that's part of what gives like the bounciness of the foam air unit. Yeah, and so that's what it looks like. And then I'm going to show you a close-up of the fitment real quick. See if I can do this with one hand because I'm filming with the other. Yeah, okay. So the back is, hang on. Back is pretty lined up. I'm going to try to brace that. But you can see what I was talking about in the video, where like none of the old glue line was showing. And beforehand, we had a couple millimeters. You could kind of see from the distance in the video where there was like that dark line, that red line. That's that part of the leather that was showing. And this is generally a problem on almost every pair that I have to swap. Like this is a pretty consistent thing that I have to do. There's some variation in the amount that you have to drop it down, but you always generally have to drop it down a little bit. This one came out perfect. This is ready to be swapped. I've got a new can of barge that I'm picking out tomorrow, and so I'll go pick that up, and then we'll be able to glue this into place. And I'll probably do a couple more videos with this pair. Yeah, so hope that helped clarify what was going on in the previous video. And like, subscribe, all that, and I'll see y'all again soon.